His calm always had a way of provoking my storm. That night, the living room light dimmed into something softer, almost deceitful. The TV hummed in the background, but my attention was on him, on the quiet rhythm of his breathing, the way his chest moved beneath his white tee, the way his lips curved without meaning to. He didn't have to touch me. His silence did the touching. I remember standing by the window, pretending to scroll through my phone while my heart throbbed like a siren. My husband was away, somewhere between his business trips and the distance we both pretended didn't exist. But this man, this gentle storm sitting on my couch, wasn't supposed to stay that long. He'd come to check on me. That's what he said. But the look in his eyes told me he wasn't here to check on the walls or the locks. He came to check on what he'd been feeling, and maybe, what I'd been hiding. His voice broke the silence. "You always look so calm when you're about to lose it." I turned. Slowly. And maybe it was the way his words lingered between tease and truth, but something inside me just snapped. He stood. Walked toward me. Every step was a sentence I couldn't resist reading. When his hand brushed against my arm, my body answered before my mind did. The air changed, thicker, heavier, hungry. I could hear my own pulse trying to drown the silence. "Don't," I whispered, my voice trembling with everything but conviction. He stopped. Smiled. That dangerous kind of smile men wear when they know they've already won a war you didn't even know you were fighting. "I told myself I wouldn't," he murmured, leaning in close enough for his breath to graze my ear, "but you keep becoming my weakness every time I try to be strong." And just like that, his calm became my undoing. My lips parted, words drowned before they could escape, and his fingers slid beneath my chin, forcing me to meet eyes that looked more like temptation than comfort. Soft pause. "Before I take you deeper," I whisper now, remembering the tremor in my voice that night. "Please don't forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe. Because what you're about to hear next isn't just a confession, it's a story that burned my sanity and baptized my guilt." Now, let's go back to how it all started. It began 2 months before that night. I was tired, lonely, and trying too hard to convince the world that I was fine. But behind every calm wife, there's a storm waiting for someone to provoke it, and he was that someone. It was the kind of silence that wrapped around your skin, forcing you to hear the things you've been avoiding inside yourself. The kind that makes your heartbeat sound like confession. That night, he sat on the far edge of my couch, elbows on his knees, head buried in his palms. The man who once walked like he owned every moment suddenly looked like a lost boy, swallowed by something only he could see. And I became his quiet space. Not because I understood his pain entirely, but because I felt it through the way his eyes avoided mine. You ever feel like your world is falling apart, and all you can do is just sit and watch? He whispered. The way he said it made my breath stumble. There was a tremor in his voice, the kind of rawness that strips away pretense. I wanted to reach out, to touch his shoulders and let my warmth tell him what words couldn't. But I didn't. Not yet. Instead, I let him speak. He talked about the noise in his head, the weight of expectations, the loneliness of pretending to be okay. And I listened, every word sinking into me like rainfall after a long drought. At one point, he lifted his face, eyes glistening under the amber lamp, and said, "You make the noise stop." That line. It wasn't flirtation. It wasn't lust. It was surrender, the kind that made me realize, maybe I had already crossed an invisible line with him. Loudspeaker, hey, if you've been here before, you already know, stories like this only get deeper from here. So please, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and share it with someone who understands what it means to be someone's quiet refuge in their chaos. The night stretched, soft music humming in the background, shadows dancing on our faces. He leaned back, exhaling the kind of tired sigh that carries years of battles. Then, without asking, he reached for my hand. Just one touch. But it felt like an earthquake dressed as comfort. His thumb brushed across my palm, slow, deliberate. I should have pulled away. Instead, I let it happen. Something in his warmth said, don't save me, just stay. And I did. Because sometimes, being someone's peace feels more intoxicating than being their passion. Even though, deep down, I knew one could easily become the other. Later, when the night began to fade, he whispered. You're dangerous, you know that? I smiled faintly. Why? Because you make me feel safe again. And that was the beginning of the storm neither of us saw coming. The night was painted in a restless calm, the kind of silence that doesn't soothe, but stirs something wild inside. He showed up again. Not the man I once pitied, but a storm that somehow found peace in my presence. I heard his car before I saw him, the hum of that old Ford, pulling into my driveway as if it belonged there. My heart started its usual betrayal, a trembling rhythm of fear, curiosity, and forbidden craving. Can I come in? He didn't even need to ask. He already knew the answer. Inside, he dropped his jacket on my couch, rubbing his temples. I had another fight with her, he muttered, voice low, weary. She said I'm cold. I shouldn't have cared. I shouldn't have looked at him the way I did, like I wanted to take that coldness and melt it myself. But I did. Maybe she just doesn't know how to reach you, I whispered. Some people aren't easy to love out loud. He looked up then, slow, deliberate, and with eyes that could ruin me. And you think you could? That question, it wasn't fair. Because my silence already gave him the answer he needed. He stood. Came closer. Close enough that his breath became mine. I shouldn't be here, he murmured. I know, I said. And yet, neither of us moved. The air turned heavy, like every heartbeat was a confession. His hand brushed my arm, slow, tracing every nerve that begged for more. And when his lips finally found mine, it wasn't passion that drove it, it was desperation. The kind that comes from needing someone to understand the pain you can't put into words. His kiss tasted like regret. Mine, like surrender. Somewhere between his sighs and my soft gasps, reality flickered, and I remembered who I was supposed to be. A friend. A comfort. Not a secret. But his arms had their own story. His voice, rough with need, whispered, "You're the only one who sees me." That's when I realized, it wasn't just about lust anymore. I'd become his bunker. The place he hid when the world got too loud. But being someone's refuge comes with a cost. Because the more he ran to me, the less he went home. And the more he confessed to me, the more my guilt started to bloom like wildfire. Kiss mark if you've ever been someone's secret comfort. Speech balloon, drop a comment, subscribe, and share this story, because this one's for you. You're still here, listening to me pour this out like wine from a trembling hand. Before we dive in, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to this channel, because tonight's confession? It's the part where I almost lost myself completely. I became his bunker when he was troubled, but in return, he became the storm I couldn't escape. That night, he showed up again, soaked in rain, jaw clenched, eyes red like he'd been running from something invisible. I opened the door without thinking, without asking. My heart recognized his chaos before my mind could warn me. He didn't speak. He just stood there, heavy breath, trembling lips, and then, he walked toward me, slowly, like a man approaching his only safe place. His hands touched my face, cold at first, then burning as they slid down to my neck. I remember whispering, "You shouldn't be here." But his silence was a response that said everything. My robe slipped, my breath hitched, and before I could remind him we were both sinners hiding from the world, his lips found mine. That kiss wasn't gentle, it was a collapse. His pain, his longing, his frustration, all poured into me. It wasn't love, it was survival. And I let him use me like I was the only thing left keeping him sane. Soft chuckle, almost sad. Funny thing is, I thought I was helping him heal. But the truth? I was breaking quietly while pretending to hold him together. Halfway through, his voice cracked. "You make me forget everything wrong in me," he whispered against my skin. And I, foolish, reckless me, believed him. Believed that maybe this broken version of comfort we shared could last. But as morning crept in, reality did too. He dressed without looking back, leaving the scent of rain and regret behind. I stood there, heart still trembling from everything that felt too real to be a mistake, yet too wrong to be right. Soft pause. If you've ever been someone's secret shelter, you'll understand. You heal their wounds while they unknowingly open yours. Before we go further, hit that like button if you've ever been someone's peace, even when it cost you your own. Subscribe, because the next part, Chapter 5, is where everything I built for him began to crumble around me. I never planned to become the place he ran to when his world fell apart. But somehow, I did. His hands used to tremble when he found me. Not out of fear, no. Out of need. Out of that raw, unfiltered ache that only came when he was too tired of pretending to be strong for everyone else. And I was his silence. His hiding place. That night, the city was sleeping but my body wasn't. The storm outside was soft, rain tapping the windows like whispered secrets. He showed up, drenched, exhausted, yet burning from something deeper than the cold. I opened the door. He didn't speak, he just looked at me, the kind of look that breaks your defenses before words even begin. "You're the only place that makes sense right now," he whispered. And before I could respond, his mouth found mine, like he'd been searching for home. Slow pause, breathe in the emotion. His kiss wasn't gentle tonight. It was desperate. Hungry. The kind that says I need you to remind me I'm still alive. Every touch, every sigh, felt like a confession neither of us could afford to say out loud. I knew it was wrong. But wrong had become the only language our hearts understood. "You shouldn't be here," I said softly, breathless between his kisses. "Then stop letting me in," he replied. And I couldn't. Because even my resistance was loyal to his chaos. His head rested against my chest, his heartbeat thudding hard and uneven. For a moment, time wasn't real. It was just warmth, pulse, and quiet sin tangled in my sheets. I became his bunker, the place he ran to when the world bruised him too deeply. But being his bunker meant I couldn't breathe unless he needed me. And that's what started to hurt. Because I realized. When he was happy, I disappeared. When he was broken, I was everything. That night, while he slept, I watched his back rise and fall, like the rhythm of a tide I could never control. His body lay next to me, but his life was somewhere else. Someone else's name still tasted on his lips. I wanted to wake him up and say, "Stay. Don't go back there." But I knew I wasn't the home he was meant to return to. Just the escape he craved when his world grew too heavy. Soft, aching voice. And still, when he turned in his sleep and pulled me closer, murmuring my name like a secret prayer, I melted again. Because even if it wasn't love, it was something that made me feel seen. Kiss mark if you've ever been someone's hiding place, someone's secret comfort. Drop a heart in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share if you've ever loved someone who only remembered your name when they were hurting. Because sometimes, love isn't about being chosen. It's about being remembered, even for a night. I didn't realize when his chaos became my calm. When his trouble started burning, I became his bunker, the only place he ran to when the world bruised him. His voice trembled against my skin that night, whispering things no wife should hear, yet every part of me wanted to believe him. His hands didn't just touch, they confessed. His lips didn't just kiss, they pleaded. And when he buried his storms into my silence, I became everything he couldn't explain to the world. It wasn't love, it was something wilder. Something forbidden. Something that tasted like pain, yet smelled like paradise. Now, when I close my eyes, I still feel him, the man who hid his wounds inside my heartbeat. The man whose troubles provoked me to sin, and whose warmth kept me from freezing in my lonely marriage. I became his bunker, his escape. And maybe, just maybe, that's why I can't escape him either. So if you've ever loved someone you shouldn't have, someone who made your body a secret and your soul a battlefield, you'll understand me. Kiss mark. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this confession if it touched your heart. Because sometimes, the most dangerous kind of love is the one that never gets caught.